So there you have Pahari Jalwa Sthan. Pahari Jalwa Sthan, mispronounced by Tibetans all over, not Tibetans, by Buddhists all over the world. This is Pure Land Buddhism, so Pure Land Buddhism around you. That is Pahari Jalwa Sthan, Puto Lo Jia Shan by the Japanese, and different variations of that word, like Puto Lo Jia Shan, Puto Lo Jia Shan, Fudaraku San by the Japanese. So that is it. This is Pahari Jalwa Sthan. Puto Lo is Pahari, Jia is Jalwa, and Shan is Sthan. So this is your Puto Lo Jia Shan or Pahari Jalwa Sthan. And this is Pure Land Buddhism. The land you see is Pure Land Buddhism. So we are approaching your Potalaka hillock, which the Tibetan Buddhists have placed it somewhere in Kerala, some Pochala or something, some hillock, because of the similarity with Potala. Potala has been taken from the Chinese Puto Lo Jia Shan, Potalaka Sthan. So that is, and Gaibi Baba has been mispronounced as Guan Yin. And this hillock had been, Puto Lo Jia Shan means what you call brilliance. And up here, Jalwa Sthan means brilliance. Pahari Jalwa Shan, Sthan Puto Lo Jia Shan. So, what do you call it? And both mean brilliance. And Gaibi Baba has been mispronounced as Guan Yin. So, sir, we are approaching your Potala Palace, your Potala Hillock. You read it in Taranath also.
Potala is also in Lhasa.
Yeah, Potala. According to Wikipedia, all Buddhist countries have a Potala hillock with a Guan Yin on top. So here we are. Now where is the Potala? Potala hillock. The Potala hillock, which the Chinese call Puto Lo Jia Shan, the Koreans call Buto Lo Jia Shan. Where is it? So folks, here, this is Taranath's History of Buddhism in India. Taranath was a Tibetan who took an Indian name. His name was Kunga Zangpo. And he wrote the History of Buddhism in India, a terrific book. And it is a sort of Bible for me. And it is translated from Tibetan by Lama Chimpa and Alka Chattopadhyay. Now, let's see what Taranath has to write about, what do you call it, the Potala. Now, here we have, let's see what Taranath has to write about Potala. During the same period, Upasaka Santivarman also went to Potala. During the same period, Upasaka Santivarman also went to Potala. Now, where is this Potala? This is very important. The king summoned the Upasaka and gave him a pearl necklace, the letter of invitation, and panas, traveling expenses. The Upasaka, the journey long, okay. Now this person, he got the traveling expenses. He reached the Sri Dhanyakataka Chaitya. The Dhanyakataka Chaitya in the island. Where in the island? There has to be an island of Dhanasri. Now the Tibetans are searching for Dhankosha. There was no Dhankosha, it was Dhanasri, which I have pointed out and I have shown Tibetans. So Dhanasri, he reached the Dhanyakata Chaitya in the island of Dhanasri while moving from there to Potala. So from Dhanasri, he moved from there to Potala. He had to go through a subterranean way. That subterranean way is my Lakhisarai, because we have a folklore that there was an underground road somewhere. And then by a route over the earth, which though existing at that time is now under the sea. That is why people these days cannot use the route. Okay. And then he failed to cross a great river on the way. That is what do you call it, Kyul River. Anyway, the great river is Kyul River. So basically, Potala was somewhere near Dhanasri, your lake Dhankosha. So that is very important. And then now that person continues his travel, then his path was obstructed by many apes, etc., etc. He gave them the way and brought delicious food for them. From there he reached the foot of Potala. See, from Dhanasri he traveled to Potala. So Potala was near Dhanasri, near Dhanari, but could not climb up the rocky hill. You can see, I showed you the hillside, it was rocky. When he prayed to Acharya Avalokiteshwar, that is your guanyin on top of, what do you call it, Jalwa Pahari Sthan, Avalokiteshwar or Ajgaibi, there came down a ladder made of canes. Now you see the position of that, remember the position of that temple, what do you call it, Gaibi Baba temple on top of the hillock. That suits this story, that he let down a ladder for him to climb up. You can see just on the southern side, it is a steep fall. The southern side, it is and the northern side are steep falls. With this, he climbed up. So folks, because of the dense fog, he failed to see, etc., etc. So this Potala was this Potala hillock, which the Chinese say Puto Lo Jia Shan, and Puto Lo Jia Shan was near Dhanasri, which I will show you. Now this is Wikipedia again. Now this is Mount Potalaka. Let's see where the origin is. The mountain is first mentioned in the first chapter of the Avatamsaka Sutra and the Gandavyahu Sutra, where the chapter's protagonist journeys to seek the advice of Avalokiteshwar. Okay. Now Avalokiteshwar lives on top. Now let's see what the Japanese say. The Japanese scholar, where is this hillock? See, we just now saw the Taranath's protagonist goes from Dhanasri, which is Dhanari, to Potalaka. Now, the Japanese scholar Shu Hikosaku, on the basis of study of Buddhist scriptures, ancient Tamil literary sources, he takes it to Tamil Nadu, as well as field survey, proposes the hypothesis that the ancient Mount Potalaka, the residence of Avalokiteshvara described in the Gandavyahu Sutra. Now Gandavyahu, Gaibi Gandavyahu Sutra, Zhangzag Great Tang records of the western regions is the real mountain Potikai or Potiyel, situated in Amba Samudram in Tirunelveli district. Vast part of areas comes under Sangampatti Zamindar Forest, Tamil Nadu. Now he has placed it in Potikai in Tamil Nadu. Now let's see where the Potikai in Tamil Nadu is and the distance from Potikai, Tamil Nadu. Let's see the distance in India. Shu says that the Mount Potiyil, Potalaka has been a sacred place for the people of South India. Okay, it must be a sacred place for the people of South. Okay, it's a sacred place of South India from time immemorial. It may be a sacred, they have their own gods and goddesses. Now let's see what the map shows. Where is Potikai in Tamil Nadu? See, this is Potikai in Tamil Nadu, and this is your Dhanari, what do you call it, Taranath or Kungas, Dhanari, which book you read. Now, is it possible the Taranath's protagonist, he went from Dhanari to what he called, the Buddhists called Putolo Jia Shan. The Buddhists call it Putolo Jia Shan. Look at this. Mount Potalaka is Putolo Jia Shan in Chinese, and in Japanese it's Fuduraku Shan. So Putolo Jia Shan, Chinese, we know a lot of Chinese came over to India, and they took back a lot of writings from India. So Dhanari, where is Putolo Jia Shan? Oh, Pahar is Puto, Putolo is Lawa, Putolo is Lawa, Jia is Ja, and Shan is Than. So Putolo Jia Shan. Shan is Sthan, folks. So that is Pahari Jalwa Sthan, close to Dhanari, that is your Potalaka. Now this Potikai. If his Taranath says his protagonist went from Dhanari, from the island in Dhanari to what do you call it, Potalaka. Now the Japanese monk, he puts it at Potikai in Tamil Nadu. Folks, the whole of India was jungle. There was no roads, no railways, no aeroplanes, and you had hundreds of kings all fighting each other. It wasn't conducive for Tibetans and Buddhists and all to walk around as though it's a picnic. There were wild beasts all over the place, man-eating tigers all over the place. And it wasn't conducive for Buddhists to go to such distances. People generally never went down so far or never went up so far. So basically, what do you call it, from that Putolo Jia Shan is Pahar Jalwa Sthan, and that is Gai B is Guan Yin. Gai is Guan, B is Yin. Gai is Guan, B is Yin, Gai B Baba. Now let's see what else Wikipedia has to say about Guan Yin, what do you call it, the Potalaka, and Jalwa Pahari. And the best part is, Jalwa means brilliance. Jalwa means brilliance. And in Mount Potalaka, Putolo Jia Shan and Fuduraku San means brilliance. So both the words mean brilliance. I will show you. See, now you have it all here. Asthan Jalwa Pahari. This is the what do you call it, Indian name. Asthan Jalwa Pahari of Potalaka. Asthan Jalwa Pahari, which means brilliance. Jalwa means brilliance. Now this is the Chinese Putolo Jia Shan. Now let me compare it with the Indian. The Chinese one also means brilliance in Wikipedia. Now you overturn this one. Overturn the Indian one and say it backwards. Pahad, Lawa, Ja, Shan. Sthan, Shan. Actually, it's written as Sthan, but it's pronounced Sthan. So, Shan, Sthan, Pahad, Luo, Jian, Sthan. Now, Pahad sounds similar to the Chinese Puto. Loa sounds similar to Lo. Ja sounds similar to Jia. And Shan sounds similar to Shan. Actually, this is Sthan. So, what do you call it? You overturn Pahadi Jalwa Sthan, it becomes Pahad Lawa Ja Shan. It sounds similar to Pu, To, Lawa, Jia, Ja, Shan, Sthan. Now the other Chinese option, Bu, To, Pahad is Bu, To, Lo, Lawa, Jia is Ja, Shan is Sthan. And the Chinese option, Fuda, Ra, Ku, San. San is Sthan. And all means brilliance, folks. Jalwa means brilliance. So, Asthan Jalwa Pahadi, no doubt, is your Mount Potalaka. I think His Holiness the Dalai Lama should be informed. He is an old man, and Gaibi Baba is Avalokiteshwar. His name is Aj Gaibi Baba, but it's written Gaibi Baba. So, folks, His Holiness the Dalai Lama is regarded as an incarnation of Avalokiteshwar. So, what do you call it? I think people should inform His Holiness. See, they tried to mine this hillock, your Buto Lo Jia Shan, or Puto Lo Jia Shan, and a whole lot of gems, crystals, topaz came out. And so what happened was the mining department stopped the mining. See, it has heavy mining had taken place. And the hillside shines. You can see the hillside shining. So this rock contains topaz, a lot of topaz and gems. You can see the rock is very expensive. It shines. So that's why it was called Jalwa, means brilliance, which the Japanese, etc., have mispronounced as Puto Lo Jia Shan. Pahadi Jalwa has been Puto Lo Jia, and Sthan has been mispronounced as Shan. And folks, Guanyin is on top, Gaibi Baba Mandir. This part of the hillock has been, the middle part has been, mined. So that is the loss for Buddhists and Buddhism. Your Puto Lo Jia Shan has been mined. They blasted it with dynamite and sold the rocks. So we are passing your Puto Lo Jia Shan, Gaibi Baba Sthan. Your Guanyin is on top. The original concept of Guanyin emanated from here, folks. From Gaibi Baba. The original concept of Guanyin emanated from here, Gaibi Baba. You can see the rocks are expensive. they contain crystals, topaz, a lot of gems. And the temple is on top. I think that एक मंदिर है ना. There is a temple on top, that's Gaibi Baba Mandir, which Buddhists have mispronounced as Guan Yin. Now Dr. Samdu Chhetri and myself will be climbing up this hillock to Gaibi Baba's Sthan. That is your Guan Yin, folks. It's a tough climb and it's all jungles. Let's see. We are climbing up here the so-called Potalaka to see Avalokiteshwar's temple, Guan Yin, Gaibi Baba. Dr. Samdu Chhetri, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
My driver has refused to come. India is a democracy. You cannot force him. So here we are, climbing up Potala, Butolo Jiashan, our Pahari Jalwa Sthan. All of them mean brilliance. Jalwa means brilliance. And you can see why. The rock is expensive. Topaz, gems have come out from these rocks. Topaz, gems. And everyone has gone to court to somehow bag the rights to mine this. We must stop it. We are going up Pahari Jalwa Sthan. Look at the rocks. Now you can understand why it was called brilliance. Jalwa is brilliance. Putolo Jiashan is brilliance. So, Avalokiteshwar, Guan Yin is Gaibi Baba. The concept, these are all mispronunciations of Gaibi Baba. Gai, Guan, Bi, Yin. Look at the rocks. Look at the rocks, folks. Look at the rocks. This is another first for me, sir.
Sorry?
This is another first for me. I found from where the concept of Avalokiteshwar emanated. We are approaching Guan Yin, Gaibi Baba, Avalokiteshwar. Look at the rocks. They shine. They are brilliant. Brilliance. We have reached the top of Putolo Jiashan or Potalaka or Butolo Jiashan. This is Pahari Jalwa Sthan. Gaibi Baba Mandir, Guan Yin. Gaibi, Guan Yin. The temple is on top. This is Avalokiteshwar. The concept of Avalokiteshwar emanated from here. You're videographing me, sir.
Yes.
Look at this. It's a beautiful sight. We heard so much about Avalokiteshwar. And here it is. Dr. Samdu Chhetri videographing me, and I videographing Dr. Samdu Chetri. It's like Nawang Gombu and Edmund Hillary climbing up to Mount Everest.
Thank you, sir, for all that you do
Ah,
for the Buddhist world.
sir, beautiful statue. They put a shivling, but there is your Guanyin, there is your Gaibi Baba, there is your Guanyin, the original face of Guanyin, the original face of Gaibi Baba, the original face of Avalokiteshwar. Can I broaden it?
Yeah, I think you can.
There it is. The original face of Gaibi Baba, the original face of Guanyin, the original face of Avalokiteshwar. On top of Putolo Jia Shan, our Pahari Jalwasthan, and there are more. Something on the side. And on the side seems to be a lion or something, sir.
Yes, that is a lion.
Or a tiger.
No, that could be a lion or a tiger.
That's a tiger. Who rides a tiger, sir?
Padma Sambhava.
Okay. So, imagine it. See, it's written up here. Gaibi, Guan Yin, Gai Guan Bi Yin. This is an ancient setup. They have recently made the temple.
The crown is also of Shabdrung.
What's-
I mean
Of what?
of Guru Rinpoche. Padma Sambhava. The shape, look at that.
No, but the petals aren't there, sir.
The petals aren't there, but
No,
the shape of
the
crown
petals, sir,
is very, very highly
the petals aren't there.
Buddhistic.
And the sitting posture isn't Padmasambhava. You see the hands in front. Giving Ashirvad.
No, but he's sitting in. That's because of.
The sitting posture isn't that.
Yeah,
This is Avalokiteshwar, sir.
yes.
Avalokiteshwar. This is Gaibi Baba. Guan Yin. Avalokiteshwar.
Right.
जय हो अवलोकितेश्वर भगवान की, जय हो गैबी बाबा की, जय हो ग्वानियन की, जय.
Let all the
So you
Buddhists-
touch the foot of the temple like that. That is the way, Indian way of doing
Yes.
thing. Dr. Samdu Chetri paying obeisance to Guan Yin, to Gaibi Baba, to Avalokiteshwar.
Tiger on both sides.
Now this is Guan Yin. What do you call it? The goddess's name. The name Guan Yin also spelled Guan Yin. This is Gaibi. Guan Yin is Gaibi. Guan Yin, etc. is a short form of Quan Shi Yin, meaning observing the sounds or cries of the human world or the sentient being. So observing the sounds and cries of the human world. Now, this is why the statue I showed you, and which I will show you again, has very big ears. That is certainly the head of Guan Yin or Gaibi Baba or Avalokiteshwar, because the big, abnormally big ears observes the sounds and cries of the human world. Now the statue also had big eyes. Now let's see why big eyes. Now let's see why big eyes. Avalokiteshwar supremely exemplifies the Bodhisattva's resolve to postpone his own Buddhahood until he has helped every sentient being on earth achieve liberation. Moksha, literally release from suffering, dukkha, and the process of death and rebirth. His name has been variously interpreted as the Lord who looks in every direction. So he is the Lord who looks in every direction. That is why the statue you saw had big eyes. That is why the statue of Gaibi Baba you saw had big eyes. Because he is the Lord who looks in every direction. And he is the Bodhisattva of compassion, observing the sounds or cries of the human world, of all the sentient beings. See, this is why Gaibi Baba the statue has big ears and big eyes. I will show you the video of Gaibi Baba again. Folks, now I am I have reached the top of the Potalaka hillock, and I am approaching Guan Yin's Gaibi Baba temple. Now, in that temple I showed you a statue of a person with a huge, with huge ears and huge eyes. That is no doubt Avalokiteshwar or Gaibi Baba or Guan Yin. Because according to Buddhist scriptures, Avalokiteshwar is the perceiver of all sounds, observing sounds or cries of sentient beings. And then Avalokiteshwar is the Lord who looks in every direction and the Lord of what we see. Folks, you saw the statue, and it had huge ears and huge eyes. And the hands were showering blessings on what looked like a shivling. It's not a shivling, folks. Look closely, it's a globe. And imagine it, in 500 years ago, Indians knew, see, it's a globe, and you can see the big ears and the big eyes to see what all he saw. And the big ears to perceive everything, hear everything. So we are on top of Puto Lojia Shan, and you just saw Gaibi Baba, Gaibi Baba's temple, Gaibi, Guan Yin. And now we are on top of the world. We are on top of the world, and this is pure land Buddhism in front of you. Jogpur as Jingtu, Dharampur, the king called Dharampur. There was a king called Dharampur, that's that side. Jogpur, that is Jug. Jug means the world. That side. And Balaji Avatar Arma, that side. Balaji Avatar Arma is your Buddha Amitabha. Balaji Buddha Avatar Arma is Amitabha. And this is your pure land Buddhism. Sir, gaze upon the pure land. It's a beautiful sight. It's a bit misty, but it's a beautiful sight. With Gaibi Baba, Avalokiteshwar, Guan Yin's temple behind us. Om. Om. Yes, now everyone has become Hindu, so you see a shivling inside. But yeah, if you exclude that, this is Gaibi Baba. Thank you. Thank you for coming, sir. And I think this should reach His Holiness the Dalai Lama and the other holinesses. Now, proof of Asthan Jalwa Pahari, Gaibi Baba, proof of that is Puto Lo Jia Shan is supposed to be the Buddhist Pure Land Buddhism. So folks, this area here, this entire area here falls under your Pure Land Buddhism, because the names that you are searching for, this is important for Buddhists, the names that you are searching for are all found here in this area, all this area. The name searching here, Ghogi Korashi, and then Gaibi Baba, Jogpur, and Dharampur. This is Dharampur, and then Arma. This is where your Buddha Amitabh is prayed to, in Arma. What do you call it? He is actually Balaji Avatar Arma, which has been mispronounced as Balaji, has been mispronounced as Buddha, mistaken as Buddha. Avatar Arma Amitabha. Avatar Arma Amitabha. So, and it is to the west of Gaibi Baba Sthan Jalwa Pahari. Because what do you call it? Pure Land Buddhism was to the west. Pure Land Buddhism was to the west. Now let's see what is written in Pure Land Buddhism. See, here is your Gaibi Baba Sthan Jalwa Pahari. Now let's see what's written in Pure Land Buddhism. Now Pure Land Buddhism. Pure Land was supposed to be to the west. Pure Land Buddhism, Chinese pinyin Jing Tu Zong, Japanese Romanized Jodo Bukyo. So Chinese say Jing Tu Zong, Japanese say Jodo, and Jeong To Jong, Vietnamese Tin Ho Dong. So basically the Koreans say Jeong To Jong. Now where is Jeong To Jong? Where is Jodo, the Japanese Jodo, or the Chinese Jing Tu Zong? See, let's go to the satellite picture. Here is your Gaibi Baba Asthan. Now look at this. This is Jogpur. Is this Jodo? Is this Jing Tu Jeong of Chinese? Is it Jodo of Japanese? Or is it Jingto of, what do you call it, Korean? Folks, this is Jogpur. Those words, Jingto, Jodo, etc., are a mispronunciation of Jogpur. This is the Pure Land. Because Jog is actually an ancient form, it seems, of Jug. Jug means land, earth, the world. So this is the world, this is the earth. See, from on top of the hillock, you feel as though the world is below you. The world is below you. So this is Jagpur. Now Jagpur is here. Jagpur is here. The name, see, these are all villages filling up the names. When you enlarge the picture, the name runs away. So this is Jogpur. It is here. This is Pure Land. The Japanese call it Jodo, the Chinese Jingto, or the Korean Jongto, something like that. So basically, now let's see what else do you have in Pure Land. In the Pure Land Sutra section, of Wikipedia of Pure Land, which I just showed you. What do you call it? In the Infinite Life Sutra, Gautama Buddha begins by describing to his attendant Anand a past life of the Buddha Amitabha. So Gautama Buddha's past life was Amitabha. He states that in a past life, Amitabha was once a king who renounced his kingdom. Amitabha was once a king who renounced his kingdom and became a monastic bodhisattva named Dharmakara, Dharma storehouse. So he was a monastic, bodhisattva named Dharmakara. Okay, now let's see where, if this is available in the satellite picture. See, this is Jogpur and Gaibi Baba Asthan Jalwa Pahari, that is Dharampur, the king Dharmakara. That is Dharampur, that's the king Dharmakara. Now basically Jogpur is here on the road and Dharampur is here just next to it, but there is no village called Dharampur. It is just a plot of land which we call in Bihar Mauje. So this is the Mauje is Dharampur. It is in the name of Dharmakara king who lived in the Pure Land, which is Jogpur. Now let's see what BBC has to say about this Dharampur. See, here it is, BBC Religions Buddhism Pure Land. The story of Amitabha in Pure Land. Once there was a king who was so deeply moved by the suffering of beings in the world that he gave up his throne and became a monk named Dharmakara. So there was a king, the BBC also says, in the story of Amitabha, once there was a king who was so deeply moved by the suffering of beings in the world that he gave up the throne and became a monk named Dharmakara. Dharmakara was heavily influenced by the 81st Buddha and vowed to become a Buddha himself, with the aim of creating a Buddha land that would be free of all limitations. He meditated at length on other Buddha lands and sat down what he learned in 48 vows. Eventually he achieved enlightenment and became Amitabha Buddha. So he became Amitabha Buddha. Now let's search for Amitabha Buddha, and established his Buddha land of Sukhavati. So he established his Buddha land of Sukhavati. Now let's see where Sukhavati is. Sukhavati. Sukhavati in Sanskrit is a pure land in Mahayana Buddhism associated with the Buddha Amitabha. It is commonly called the Western Pure Land or Western Paradise, and is most well known in Buddhist Pure Lands due to the popularity of Pure Land Buddhism in East Asia. Now, in the etymology and name section, see that what is the name of the Chinese Pure Land is Jingtou, similar to our Jogpur. Zirang Jingtou, again Jogpur. Jile Jingtou, again Jogpur, again next to Dharampur. Ziliang, Jile and Jingtou. That's it. These are all, the Jingtous are mispronunciations of Jogpur. Now Korean you have Gyeongnak, then you have Gyeongto. Gyeongto sounds very similar to Jogpur. Then Seobang, Jogto. So basically the Koreans also have a mispronunciation of Jagpur, which is next to Dharmakara. Now the Japanese also have Jodo. This is directly similar to Jogpur. Jodo is directly similar to Jogpur. So, and it's next to Dharmakara. So that was the king who became the Buddha Amitabha. Okay. So the land of Sukhavati is Jogpur. Jingtu, Jeongto, Jodo is Jogpur and nothing else next to Dharamkada. So this is Jogpur, and this was a king called Dharampur who became the Buddha Amitabha. Now the Buddha Amitabha, and this is Jogpur. Now the village is here. See, Jag means the world, the entire world, the land, the peaceful land, the lovely land. So basically, people settled down here and they made a village called Jogpur, Jagpur. And the plot next to it, the Mauja next to it, the land next to it is known as Dharampur. This is dedicated to that king who became the Buddha Amitabha. Now, what do you call it? Buddha Amitabha should be also up here. Now it is all pure land Buddhism to the west. Let's see where he is.
कॉर्नर जो है कॉर्नर से अभी वहाँ तक ये जो देख रहे हैं अब वहाँ से लेकर के ई तक ले जो है नीम के घाटी है ना,
हाँ,
यहाँ से लेकर के जोधपुर मौजा पड़ जाता है।
Jogpur.
हाँ, जोधपुर, बिशनपुर, धर्मपुर, तीन मौजा है।
हाँ, अच्छा ठीक, अब ठीक है। अच्छा, now folks, I am in Jogpur. I have shown you what you call it, your Putolo Jiashan, which is our Pahari Jalwa Sthan.
हाँ,
Putolo Jiashan is our Pahari Jalwa Sthan, on which Guan Yin lives. That is our Gaibi Baba. Now, the Chinese have mispronounced Gaibi, sir. The Chinese have mispronounced Gaibi Baba as Guan Yin. And what do you call it? Guan Yin. Gai Guan Bi Yin. Gai Bi Guan Yin. And Putolo Jiashan Pahari Jalwa Sthan. Putolo Jiashan means brilliance. Pahari Jalwa means brilliance. So that is definitely the hillock which I just showed you. Now folks, in Pure Land Buddhism, west of Putolo Jiashan is Jingtu Zong in Japanese, Jodo Bukoyo Korean, Jingto Zong Vietnamese. So folks, west of Pahari Jalwa Sthan is Jogpur. Jogpur has been mispronounced by Buddhists as Jingto Zong in Japanese, Jodo Bukuyo in Korean. Jogpur. Jog means jug. Jug means the world. Jug means the world. And in Pure Land Buddhism, there was a king called Dharamnath or something like that. Folks, कहाँ है धर्मपुर? धर्मपुर किधर है? From this wall, that side is Dharampur, and this is Jogpur. In the satellite pictures, they have been put wrongly. So, folks, that is what do you call it? Dharampur is there. They are twin villages, and Kalyanpur will be behind here. Atisa was born in this area. Atisa was born in this area because Vikramshila is here. Vikram Shri Ghana is here. Vikram Shri Ghana is here. So Atisa was born here in Vikrampur, in what do you call it? Kalyanpur will be here somewhere. People are placing it. So folks, look around you. This is your pure land Buddhism. I haven't been managed to locate Kalyanpur, and कोई जगह है अयोध्या आसपास में,
राम के मंदिर,
अयोध्या
राम के मंदिर है,
अयोध्या है, हाँ हाँ अयोध्या है, श्री घना के पास है। अच्छा, तो आप तो यहाँ भी आ गए। हाँ, अच्छा, अयोध्या कहाँ अयोध्या है? कल्याणपुर भी कोई गांव है आसपास में? कहाँ का आगे? ना वो नहीं, तो हमको इस एरिया में। हाँ, तो प्योर लैंड बुद्धिज्म, हाँ छोड़िए ना, अयोध्या है ना। Perilous month, Sumatra. About Atisa, with his parents' approval, Atisa went back to Avdhudipa. Avdhudipa. Avdhudipa is a mispronunciation of Ajodhya. Avdhudipa is a mispronunciation of Ajodhya. So, what do you call it? Your Atisa, he had his education in Avdhudipa. And what do you call it? I have not found his birthplace, but his birthplace is in one of the villages around here. So, folks, this is Atisa's birthplace in Bikrampur, and in this area, I will have to again look up the text, read the books, and again, what do you call it? Search for the village. So, folks, enjoy. This is your Pure Land Buddhism.
We are very near.
Your, what do you call it?
Everything.
Your Dr. Samdu Chetri is standing here. Sir, this is Pure Land Buddhism. Adma village is the village of Buddha Amitabha. It is to the west. And then your Sukhavati is Anandpur. Sukh means Anand. Is Anandpur on the banks of the Ganges. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now this is Asthan Jalwa Pahadi Gaibi Baba, Jogpur, Dharampur. Now to the west is Ardma. And the village deity is Balaji Avatar Ardma. See, the king called Dharampur, he went through various avatars and finally became the Buddha Amitabha. So basically, the Buddha Amitabha is a mispronunciation of Balaji. Balaji has been mistaken for Buddha. Balaji Avatar has been mispronounced as what do you call it? Buddha Amitabha. Balaji Avatar is Arma is the local village deity of this village today. It is the local village deity of this village, and his name is Balaji Avatar Arma. You see, the king called Dharmendra, through several avatars, he did, behaved well, and then he became the Buddha Amitabha. So basically, this is Balaji Avatar Arma, mispronounced as Buddha Amitabha. Let's see the name. Here you have it. Buddha Amitabha. Buddha Amitabha. Now you break it up. Buddha Amitabha. Buddha Amitabha. Balaji Avatar. Buddha is a misunderstanding of Balaji. Amitabh is a misunderstanding of mispronunciation of Avatar. Amitabh, Avatar, Amita, Avatar, Amita, Avatar, Bha, Arma. Bha, Arma. So Buddha Amitabh is a mispronunciation of Balaji Avatar Arma. So folks, this is your Buddha Amitabh. He is your Balaji Avatar Arma of Arma village, which is here west of Gaibi Baba Asthan, which is there to the east of Arma village. Now we have more proof of the Potala Gaibi Baba, the temple on what do you call it, Jalwa Pahadi is the Potala. This Upasaka attained most of the marks of Siddhi by propitiating Arya Avalokiteshwar in a forest of Pundravardhana. A king called Subhasara saw in his dream as if Arya Avalokiteshwar was invited and brought to his country, and immediately Jambudvip was rid of famine and epidemic, and prosperity was restored there. And it was predicted that for the purpose the same Upasaka dwelling in the forest had to be sent to Potala palace. So basically the Upasaka, the king summoned the Upasaka and gave him a pearl necklace, the letter of invitation, and panas means money for travelling expenses. Now, to keep a long story short, the Upasaka thought the journey being long and full of hazards is likely to involve the risk of life. Anyway, he reached the Sri Dhanya Kataka Chaitya in the island of Dhanasri. Okay, while moving from there to Potala, he had to go through a subterranean way. So he continues, and but on the way he spends all the money. From there he reached the foot of Potala, but could not climb up the rocky hill. When he prayed to Arya Avalokiteshwar, there came down a ladder made of canes. So if you, I showed you the video of the temple on top of the hillock. It is fit to send down a ladder to pull someone up. With this he climbed up. Because of dense fog, he failed to see the way. When he prayed for a long time, the fog cleared up. He saw the image of Tara, etc., etc. So basically, this person reaches the Potala. So at last the Arya, he saw the Pankadeva. Then he saw the Arya Pankadeva. He offered flowers to him and placed before him the king's letter and offerings. When he prayed to him to visit the Jambudvipa, he accepted it and gave the Upasaka a large sum of panas as his travelling expenses, and said that I will come only if you, to keep a long story short, he says, I will come only if you, spend all the money. So basically, this fellow, he spends all the money. And this message was sent to the, he spends all the money. So the Pankadeva tells him that would have happened had all your panas been spent. Had all your money been spent, that would have happened. I shall now remain here in this way. Now this news reaches the king who financed this Upasaka. As this message was sent to the king felt displeased, and it is said that he did not offer any reward to the Upasaka. A temple was built in that forest and it came to be known as that of Khasarpana. Now let's see where Khasarpana is, folks. See, this is your Gaibi Baba Jalwa Sthan, that's your Potalaka. Now south of here, across the mountains, you have Mahavir Mandir Konipad. Konipad sounds very similar to Khasarpana. And you have Korashi. Now Korashi is also very similar to Khasarpana. Konipad is very similar, Mahadev Mandir. Konipad is very similar to Khasarpana. So basically the next paragraph is very important because it gives the meanings of Konipad and Korashi. It is said, see, this is very important because it gives the name of those two places, Konipad and Korashi. It is said that the Khasarpana, that is Konipad, Khasarpana is Konipad, was derived from the fact that he came through the sky, or because he came when the Panas were exhausted. So this word has two meanings. One is he came through the sky, and the other is when the Panas were exhausted. He came through the sky, and the other is when the Panas were exhausted. So it has two meanings and there are two words. But it is better to use it in the sense of coming through the sky. So it is better to use the word it in the sense of coming through the sky. You have your Mahavir Mandir Konipad here and your Korashi here. So he says it's better to use it, the meaning of that it is coming through the sky. See, it means he flew over the mountains, he came through the sky, that is Konipad, to cross the Koni, cross the corner. So basically, and now, and Korashi is, Rashi means money, Rashi means money. So that person says Pana, he gave him Pana money and he was supposed to spend it. So this is Korashi. Let's see what he has to say further. But it is better to use it in the sense of coming through the sky. In the alternative interpretation, Kharsa. Now Kharsa sounds very similar to Korashi, doesn't it? Kharsa sounds very similar to Korashi. Kharsa is an equivalent for the price of food. So the Rashi means food. So what the Rashi means money. So Kharsa, and Kharsa sounds very similar to a Bihari word called Kharcha. Kharcha means money to spend. So Kharsa is Korashi, is an equivalent for the price of food, and Pana means gold and silver coins, which is now called Taka. Now the translator is a Bengali, so she or he put a Bengali word. Thus the name means coin as the price for food. Actually it is Korashi. Korashi sounds similar, very similar to Kharsa. That is the price of food. Let's see it in the satellite picture. So you have Korashi here, that sounds very similar to Kharsa, which was money to buy food. That is Rashi. Rashi means money to buy food. And Konipad means to cross over the corner. That means he flew over the corner. And of course you have Gaibi Baba Asthan Jalwa Pahar. So folks, how much proof do you need to prove that this is the real Potalaka? How much proof do you have need? Now this is another word, Maharatpur, which is in this, Taranath relates the story of this place. So but this video has become very long. So I will not, add this story of Maharatpur, but Taranath mentions this place. So folks, all these places, you have Arma, which is your Buddha Amitabh's, Pure Land, west of, Gaivi Baba Asthan. Basically, that is why it's called the Western Pure Land. And then you have all this Ghogi Korashi, Mahavir Mandir, Konipar. In fact, Taranath says they made a temple up here because the king did not, reward this, Upasaka. So, folks, this is definitely your, Pure Land Buddhism, folks. This entire area is your Pure Land Buddhism. This entire area is your Pure Land Buddhism. And now people are searching for a place called Shambhala. Shambhala. The Tibetans call it Shambhala. The land of Shambhala, where the Pure Land was, where Atisa also lived. Now where is, your Shambhala? The country of Shambhala, which covers the Pure Land. Folks, this is it. Budhauli Samda. Samda Budhauli is actually. Samda Budhauli. Samda is Sambha and Budhauli is Bhala. Samda is Sambha of Sambhala and Budhauli is Dhala. Sambhala. Budhauli is Bhala. Sambhala. Sambhala. So basically, folks, this is your Shambhala the Tibetans are looking for, and this is the Pure Land. I have given you all the proofs, all the words. I have explained the meanings, and folks, this is Vikram Shila. There was no place called Vikram Shila. It was Vikram Shri Ghana. Vikram Shri Ghana. So folks, this is, and it was on top of a hillock. That's what the Tibetans said. The office, entrance should be here. So folks, this is your Vikram Shila, folks. Vikram Shila. In all this comes under Pure Land Buddhism. Your Atisa's home, your Tilopa's home, your Naropa's home, they all can, Shambhala, Budhauli, Samda, all of them come under Pure Land Buddhism. So, His Holiness the Dalai Lama should be informed, and the other peoples, especially the Chinese who pray to the Avalokiteshwar, who pray to Guan Yin, folks. So here we have a last look at Gaivi Baba Asthan, Jalwa Pahad, Gaivi Baba, your Guan Yin. Now folks, a lot of queries have come in from Tibetans and in my messenger, from Tibetans and Sri Lankans. Where is this, your Gaivi Baba Asthan, Jalwa Pahadi, which is mispronounced as Puto Lo Jia Shan, and Guan Yin. It is Aj Gaivi, which they have made it Avalokiteshwar. So this is Gaivi Baba. Now a lot of Tibetans and some Sri Lankans and some Thais have questioned me, where is it and how to reach it. So folks, this is for those who want to visit in the near future, where after Corona subsides, if it subsides. This is Patna, and this is Lakhisarai district. This area falls under Lakhisarai district. Lakhisarai district town is the nearest town, and it has a couple of hotels to stay in, and you can hire vehicles from here. Lakhisarai is 125 kilometers south east of Patna. So Lakhisarai is 125 kilometers southeast of Patna, and this is around 18 kilometers as the crow flies. So what do you call it? Gaibi Baba Sthan from Lakhisarai city. Now in this dot here, there is a hotel, what do you call it? Sangam Banquet and Hotel. I have a lot of Tibetans and some people have, Buddhists have requested me to take them around. So I have opened what do you call it, travel agency by the name of Padma Sambhava Tours and Travels. Padma Sambhava Tours and Travels, which will take tourists around the Padma Sambhava sites, the Tilopa sites, the Naropa sites, and your Pure Land Buddhism, which is Gaibi Baba Asthan Jalwa Pahadi. So what do you call it? Whoever is visiting can come to Lakhisarai, and I can give you directions personally. What do you call it? I'll be giving you my phone number and my address. And this is Sangam Banquet and Hotel. You can stay here, and up here the hotel staff trained. They will send you around to all these places. So folks, this is for people who wish to come over and see places for themselves. See, I have proved that there is nothing called Buddhism and Hinduism. All the Buddhist temples are alive. They are being prayed to. Only the Hindus, what you call Hindus, they don't have the texts, they don't have the stories, but they have the temples with the deities. The Buddhists have the stories, the Buddhists, foreign Buddhists have the texts, but they don't have the temples and the deities. So folks, the deities are here. I have proved that India never converted away from Buddhism to Hinduism. Indians are leading a double life. What is double religious life? It is both Buddhism and Hinduism. So folks, feel at home to come and visit what do you call it? Pure Land Buddhism. It is in Lakhisarai district. You'll have to come to the district town to further go there. Thank you very much.
Okay, now this is for Tibetans who want to visit the places of Atisa, Naropa, and what do you call it? Atisa, Naropa, and what do you call it? Padma Sambhava, etc. See, this is Sangam Banquet and Hotel. This is the hotel in Lakhisarai town. When you come to Lakhisarai town, I have opened a tour and travel, Padma Sambhava Tour and Travel, and in the basement of this hotel. So all Buddhists who want to visit the places of Naropa, Tilopa, Atisa, you can come to Lakhisarai and can stay in this hotel. This is the best hotel here. And what do you call it? This what do you call it? Padma Sambhava Tour and Travels is in the basement here, the office. I have opened it so that Tibetans can come here and easily reach their holy spots. The Padma Sambhava area, Tilopa area, Atisa area, and Naropa area, folks. So, what do you call it? Thank you.
Okay folks, now I hope you enjoyed the video, and what do you call it? Now know that basically there is nothing called Hinduism and Buddhism. All the places are here. Hindus pray to it, and Now I hope if you liked this video and appreciated it. See, it is, it is scientific research. I have studied Buddhist texts. I have studied Tibetan texts, especially the Tibetans who went back to Tibet from Bihar and wrote about it. And so if you liked it, please press the like button and share the post. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Buddha Exhumed. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Buddha Exhumed, and press the bell icon button below the video so that you are updated with my new releases, with my new videos. I will be releasing a lot of more videos of lost Buddhist sites, important places which the Buddhists are looking for, like Jalwa Sthan, Jalwa Pahari and Gaibi Baba Sthan, which you all call Guan Yin and Avalokiteshwar, and Putolo Jiashan or Potala. So folks, I hope you appreciated it. Thank you very much. For further queries, you can contact Padmasambhava Tours and Travels, below Sangam Banquet Hall and Hotel, below B Bazaar, Purani Bazaar, Lakhisarai, Bihar. Contact. This is the mobile number. This is my mobile, 700481430. So my contact number is 700481430. It will be the official contact number of Padmasambhava Tour and Travels. Basically, I will be the guide because no one in my town knows this story. So I will have to personally take people around. So this is it. Padmasambhava Tours and Travels. I have opened it. And this is the mobile number and this is the address. Below Sangam Banquet Hall and Hotel, B Bazaar, Purani Bazaar, Lakhisarai, Bihar, 700481430.